Blog Talk Radio.
Well, here we go, ladies and gentlemen, across the airwaves. We just completed the Talking Candid podcast with Kim Blylove and Cohn, her guest, Kurt Asherman, talking real estate. And now we keep it going where we land in Cleveland, Ohio, the Flats, the Browns, the Cavaliers, the Indians, or until they take that name away, and who knows what it'll be now as they banter back and forth with a roller derby team in Cleveland. But that's enough for another show. This is the American Sports History Podcast. Yours truly, Mark Mancini, producing it. Peter Ray, the mentor, the brother, the friend, hosting it. And boy, what a guest he has today in Don Morgan. 347-205-9631. You can catch the archive version because it goes by quick at blogtalkradio.com/Mancini Sports podcast platforms wherever you subscribe to. Powered now by Mancini Media. So without further ado, more of him, less of me, laying down the red carpet, putting the podium in its place, and handing off the mic. Peter, first of all, how are you? Second of all, how can people get a hold of you? And third of all, you just keep getting the guests each and every week on this great show that you have compiled. And it's so blessed to produce it, my brother.
Hi, Mark. I'm doing well. I have a YouTube channel. I make history videos. The channel name is my name, Peter J. Ray, R-E-A. And you're absolutely right about tonight's guest. There was a description that she has quite a resume. I think that's an understatement. Our guest tonight is from Riverside, California. She lives there today. She was a cheerleader for the San Diego Padres and started the Pod Squad. She was also cheerleader for the California Angels, cheerleader for the Anaheim Mighty Ducks in the NHL, and she was a TV sports reporter. It has a great story about Barry Bonds and others, and she was, as I said, she came out with a book here. Let's see. She'll probably tell. 52-card pickup, How COVID Made Magic Disappear. And for the past 17 years, she's been part of a magic and illusion team. Welcome to the show, Dawn Morgan.
Yay, I'm here. How are you in Cleveland?
Oh, everything is fine here. Now, you've, really have had a remarkable career in sports and entertainment. Would you like to give us an overview of your career?
Well, I didn't start off in sports. I mean, it's been a long and varied career. When I was younger, I did a lot of modeling and I did acting, and the acting is a story in itself. One of my very first acting gigs, I was a featured regular cheerleader on a TV show for HBO called First and 10 with some guy's name who you might recognize, O.J. Simpson. And it was great money to pay for college. Every day I got to go in and make like $150 a day to be in the background as one of the California Bullets cheerleaders. And then when college, at the end became a little too hairy because you have to take certain classes, when you first start going, you can pick the classes that work around your schedule. And then when you get to the fourth year, it's like these are the last classes left and they're at the worst time of day, so you have to take them. But, I made myself a deal that if I finished college, I could do whatever I wanted to for a year, and then I'd have to go back into the real world. And the first thing that I did was I tried out for the Anaheim Bullfrogs roller hockey cheerleading, and they were the Polywogs, and I got on the team. And then I tried out for the Mighty Ducks because I was a figure skater, and I got on the team. And then I helped create the Angel Wings for the California Angels. So, and I just really had an opportunity with the Bullfrogs because it was such a small organization to learn every aspect of, game day operations and community relations and marketing and game day entertainment. And, I just had the trifecta in Anaheim. I worked for the Angels, the Bullfrogs, and the Ducks. And he's passed now, but he was a great radio host. His name was Bob Elder. He was the general manager of the Anaheim Bullfrogs, and he just taught me so much and let me, wear many hats and do what I do and learn what I could learn, and I took that and just moved to different sports teams.
Now, would you like to talk about your book? I know a 52-card pickup, How COVID Made Magic Disappear.
Yeah, like you said, for the last 17 years, I've been performing in magic and illusion shows, and we have performed between 600 and 650 shows a year, single year, for 16 years. And on March 12th, when Disney made the announcement that they were going to close their parks due to COVID, we lost all of our shows in one afternoon, all of our business. And it was pretty devastating. So it's kind of a memoir of how we survived the year, and it's not just COVID. Our financial advisor, who we had our IRAs with in June of 2020, was arrested for a $10 million Ponzi scheme, and he had been borrowing money from his investors. So he took $50,000 from my mother's best friend. And I didn't even believe it at first, because when my mother was ill and when she passed, he was here the day she passed. He spoke at her service. After she passed, he immediately called me and said, we have to go over your mother's financials and see what's left. And, he was just a really good friend. So I did not believe it. Didn't believe it. But, yeah, 2020 was, it was keep swimming.
Do you have any stories about the San Diego Padres players during your time with the team?
I have so many stories about so many teams, players, that it's not even funny. But, I realized, we're talking about Cleveland and the Indians. I've been to the Jake on more than a few occasions. That was always my road trip. When the Angels would go to Cleveland, I would go to the Jake, and there was always, first off, Charles Barkley.
Nagy?
Charles Barkley?
Charles Nagy? No. Charles Barkley?
No. He's a basketball player. He was there one time for he was in a lawsuit. And we had gone to the Jake, but when you go there is, and she's going to know who she is if she even listens to this podcast, there is this female taxi driver. She's got red hair. She's a mom. She's out there supporting her kids, driving the taxi. She had a van taxi, and she knows the players, and they know her. And she is there waiting for you. She knows she has in the back of her van, she has your favorite liquor, and they tip her handsomely, and she carts them around all night, and they go to a place downtown called The Basement. And everybody goes to The Basement in Cleveland. And I have been to The Basement on a few occasions and had after game beverages and danced and got drunk and had a good time.
Okay. So do you want to throw out any names of players that people would know, and that you have any stories about MLB players that people would like to hear about?
Oh, well, there's a few that really keep their nose clean, so I'll talk about them. J.T. Snow back in the day, Garrett Anderson and Tim Salmon always kept their nose clean. And in fact, Tim Salmon, he was very Christian, and he would have Bible study on the road for those who wanted to come. He held Bible study, and I don't know who went, but I did know that fact about him. And then oh my gosh. Now back then, Chuck Finley was married to Tawny Kitaen of the Whitesnake videos and the movie Bachelor Party with Tom Hanks. And one time, I don't know if she was mad at him or drunk or what, but she clocked him over the head with a beer bottle. And the next day at the game on camera, it was a different story than that. But yeah, he had a shiner from the beer bottle, and I think they said it was an errant ball or something like that. But I was there, and when she clocked him with a beer bottle at the bar after
Okay.
the game. So, yeah, there was a. I'll tell you what. There was a movie with Brad Pitt called Moneyball, and in that movie, Jason Giambi's brother Jeremy doesn't show up for the game because he has alcohol poisoning. And the night that he got the alcohol poisoning, I was there. We had all gone out to a bar in Newport Beach, California. And when I say all of us, it was like Chili Davis, Jim Edmonds, Mike James. It was so many people. And I literally woke up the next day and didn't know where I was or how I'd gotten there. And so, yes, I can understand how somebody who's not the good drinker that I am could end up in the hospital with alcohol poisoning. But I was there that night with Jeremy Giambi, and so many people were there. It wasn't even funny.
Terry from Billings, Montana, thanks for listening to the show. Terry says it sounds like Dawn has knocked a lot off the bucket list.
Oh, I have. You know what? You get one life to live, and you go and you live it and enjoy it and just take responsibility for your actions. My mother raised me that way. She let me do whatever I wanted when I was younger as long as I accepted responsibility for my actions. So, yeah, you go out and you try things, and my motto in life has always been better to have tried and failed than to sit on your bum and wonder what if. And so I'll try. And half of the things that I get, I'm not the prettiest girl in the room. I'm not the smartest girl in the room. I'm not the fittest girl in the room. But I was the one that showed up.
Yep, that's the right attitude. Walter from Braintree, Massachusetts says, hi, Walter. Thanks for listening. He said, call the Indians the Rockers, have Ozzy Osbourne manage and Bruce Springsteen in the bullpen.
Oh, the Ozzy Osbourne would be great because at 7th inning stretch you could bring out the Crazy Train. That would be great.
Okay. Let's see. You have a good story about Barry Bonds. Have an interview you had with Barry Bonds. Yes.
You know, I worked in the news after I did sports for about 7 years. I didn't know what to do, and everybody's like, you should be a reporter, an anchor. I was already doing like a little local Inland Empire TV show, and so I started working in different places doing the news as a regular. I was at ABC Palm Desert, and so I would videotape, I would edit, produce, I would be the reporter, and I was there on 9/11. And after 9/11, and we talked about this yesterday, it became my belief that the news was fake and I didn't want to do it anymore, so I was going to do just sports. And Barry Bonds was going to be in Riverside for a luncheon to receive an award, and there were all the news reporters there. And he was walking up the steps to go inside, and everybody's like, Barry, can we get a soundbite? But this is when it was the home run race, and everybody wanted to talk about the home run race and steroids. And he didn't want to talk about that. And so he was going in, he goes, I'm not going to do any sound bites today, guys. I'm not going to do any sound bites today. And I said, when you come out, can I talk to you about your dad? And he turned around and he said, excuse me? And I said, can I talk to you about your dad, Barry, Bobby Bonds, because I'm from Riverside, and I know how important that it was that he brought Little League to Riverside, California, and we have Bobby Bonds Sports Park on University Avenue, and so I just want to talk to you from the point of view of the city of Riverside and how important your dad is to our city. And he said, I'll give you an interview right now. So all the other reporters came to put their cameras up and to hold their microphones up, and he goes, no, I'm just talking to her. And he goes, everybody else go away, I'm just talking to her. And so afterwards, the guys were like, well, he only talked to you because you're a hot girl. He only talked to you because you're a hot girl. And I said, he talked to me because I knew my stuff, and you guys all asked the same stupid questions when I knew that his dad was from Riverside and he's from Riverside. And it was very important how his dad and his uncle created baseball in Riverside for the Little Leaguers. So, and we still have to this day Bobby Bonds Sports Park.
Did you have any encounters with the San Diego Chicken?
I did not have any encounters with the Chicken, and this is back when we were at the old stadium. They have that brand new, beautiful stadium now, but we were at the old stadium. But I'll tell you what, I was on the team with Ken Caminetti, Tony Gwynn, Steve Finley, Brad Osmus, there's a name, and we had the Cardinals in the playoffs, and that was the year Ken Caminetti got the MVP. And I have his MVP signed baseball right here next to my bed, and he cried when they gave him his MVP, and he was such a humble man and such a nice man. And I think about him all the time. When I look at his baseball, I just wish I knew that he had those problems. You know, that was the greatest team, and most of them are gone now, you know.
What year was that?
That was 1996, I believe.
And what problems did Ken Caminetti have?
I think he had some drug problems, and
Okay.
I didn't know. I didn't know. Nobody knew. But I think he died of an overdose.
And he was National League MVP.
Yeah.
Wow.
San Diego Padres. He was the nicest man. He drove a Harley. He was quiet. And like I said, he cried when they gave him the MVP. And you know, Tony Gwynn, 6-7 batting titles. They had a poster up around the stadium that said Batman, and it was Tony Gwynn. You know, and so you just think it's going to go to him, but I mean, Ken Caminetti, he really, really contributed a lot in that series, and he was just a really awesome person. Don't worry, I got ones that I think are not so awesome, but you know, but I think it's just that it's the way you approach people too. You know, people are always, you know, on your coattails trying to get to know you or get you to buy them a drink or get you to answer that one stupid question that they always ask. Then you're going to get tired of it. You know, I was at U.S. National Champion Figure Skating Championships 2006 in St. Louis. And Michelle Kwan's manager was Shep Goldberg. And this is when Michelle Kwan was going to go to her third Olympics. And she was kind of the Dan Marino of figure skating. She really deserved to win an Olympic gold medal, but never on that day did she get the job done. And everybody wanted to talk about Michelle Kwan, and somehow I had struck up a friendship with Shep Goldberg, her manager, and I was standing there chatting him up, and this other figure skating coach comes up, and first out of his mouth is, how do you think Michelle's going to do? And Shep turned around and walked off, and I go, thanks a lot, because I was actually there as a reporter, not a coach, and we were just having conversation, and I wanted insight, but I wasn't going to go directly for it. We were talking about pasta, you know, and so you know, there's just people that if they're famous, they know they're famous, you know they're famous, and you have to just treat them as people. That's it.
In your work as in this magic and illusion team, do you travel all over the country?
We do, and you know, that was the one blessing that came out of COVID is we were on lockdown. Nobody's going to a magic show because we're on lockdown. We can't do magic shows. So we jumped on the Zoom bandwagon, and we were performing on Zoom. And then it hit me that I wasn't relegated to Southern California, and we started calling every activities director, every school principal in every city in every state. And on Mondays at 5 or 6 o'clock, we would have a free Zoom show. If they wanted to jump in and watch it and see what it was like on Zoom and see how we did, then it was complimentary to them, and we only, you know, we didn't promote it and try and sell tickets to it. But now that Zoom is over, places that we did perform Zoom shows for in other states and other cities, they're calling us now saying, can you come and do that live? So actually we're going to leave Sunday night to Snowflake, Arizona. Last week we were in Park City, Utah. The week before we were in St. John, Arizona. and we got a call for Tennessee, which is on our hit list. We are obsessed with Tennessee. We want to move to Tennessee. I've wanted to move there since my mother passed, and it's on my vision board. And so we got a call to go to Tennessee the first week of December, and they said if we come out and everyone likes us and we do well, they might give us an opportunity to do an amusement park out there for the summer.
Well, if you've been doing this for 17 years, you must really enjoy the work.
Well, it's something that we're good at. And, you know, when you're good at something and you're proud of it, and it allows me to do every hat that I've ever worn. Every job I've ever had is poured into the magic show, whether it's game day operations or it's marketing, and I'm, you know, promoting the show, trying to get people, you know, to hire us, invoicing, and then there's the creative part where I get to put the dance into it, you know. There's a few old dance moves from cheer routines that are in our show. And then I get to make the costumes, and we pick the music, and we choreograph how the show is going to go. And, you know, so anything that I have picked up along the way before coming to magic, it came to magic with me. And all of those tools that I've learned are put into the show.
Were you part of another show before the show you have now? I mean, how we want to talk about how you got into magic and illusion?
Well, when I was the ice skater for the Mighty Ducks, it was owned by Disney Sports, and Disney was like all entertainment all the time, and so they would hire an illusionist, and he was kind of famous, to come to the arena and produce a girl at the beginning of the show, or produce Wild Wing, and to save money, they would offer me up. They'd say, well, we have a girl that you can put into the box. And so I did get to work with a pretty famous illusionist back then. And then when I left pro sports and went to the news, and then when I left the news and I got a real job technically, I was the director of marketing an amusement park out here, and that's where I met Anthony. And I would watch his show, and I'd be like, you're so good. Why are you here? You know? And he said, well, I've been here 9 years, and I don't know how to break out. And I said, well, I'm going to break you out, and you can pay me. And he goes, I don't have any money. I said, I'm going to make you money, and you're going to pay me.
Well, so Anthony, what's Anthony's last name?
Hernandez.
So Anthony had been doing, he'd been doing magic and illusion?
He had been doing magic and illusion at Amusement Park in Riverside for 9 years when we met.
Ah.
And I took video of him because I had that capability. Back then, nobody knew how to make videos. We all didn't have iPhones back then. I don't even think we had phones back then. And I made a video for him, and we went over to the Ontario Improv. And I said to the Improv, I said, you know, at night you're really busy, but in the daytime you sit here dark not making any money, and all these kids are running next door with their $20 bill and going to the movie theater. I'm going to bring you a magic show, and I'm positive it's going to be a hit. But if you're skeptical about it, I'm going to give you this show for free. And if it makes money, you keep it. And if it doesn't make any money, no skin off your nose. But if it makes money, then the next time you hire us back at my rate. And so we booked the first Sunday of the month for the Ontario Improv, and 200 kids came to that show. They were so skeptical that it would be a hit, they didn't even have like sodas or pizza or candy available for concessions with the magic show. They just opened the doors to have a magic show. And so after that, we were booked the first Sunday of every month. And I'm going to tell you for sure, on the second Sunday, they had their tchotchkes and their food and their concessions out for the kids to buy because they realized they missed an opportunity to make additional revenue.
So you saw Anthony Hernandez performing Magic and Illusion, and you decided to team up with him.
No, I wasn't meant to be his teammate. I wasn't meant to be a magician. Everyone thinks I'm a magician assistant. I'm not like an equal partner. PR and marketing person. And I was representing figure skating, In fact, I had 2 skaters at the last Olympics, and they'll probably be at this Olympics. And I had a band, and I had a couple singers, and I was going to open up my own little boutique PR and marketing company. But Anthony took off so much that I didn't have time to spend with anybody else. And I was booking him left and right. He was an easy sell.
But you're a part of the show.
Yeah, that happened by accident.
Okay.
That happened. That happened because he had 2 assistants, and when I booked him at the Improv, the first assistant broke her arm, so she couldn't do the Improv, and then the second assistant had something major come up, and she couldn't do it. And he called me up and he says, "We're going to have to cancel the Improv. I don't have any assistants." And I said, "I'm not missing out on any money. I'm going to be your assistant. You're looking at the last cookie left in your jar. I'm her." And he goes, "You don't know any of my show." And I go, I watched it enough. I think I can do it. And I did it better than the other girls. So not only was I videotaping the show and running sound on the show, I was jumping in and out of the boxes, and I jumped out and in faster than the other girls. So, yeah.
And has the show evolved since you've really become a part of it? Have you provide input?
All the time, because I'm a watcher. I'm used to watching, crowds and what crowds tend to go for. You know what I mean? Like, for example, we're doing a podcast right now, and it's during the World Series. You probably have a few listeners not listening, or they're listening and watching the World Series at the same time. But I've got it on. I can tell you we got 1-1 with no outs. It's 0-0. Yeah. So who knows? But yeah, you have to think ahead. Like when somebody wants to book a date, and be like, what could happen on this date? I don't want to do it when there's a major fight on pay-per-view. I don't want to do it if it conflicts with another holiday or another person who's in town doing something the same. So you try and look at it that way. When he's doing a show, I see what hits and what doesn't hit with the audience and why. Just like a stand-up comic, they'll do the same routine every single night with the same jokes. And one night they'll tell a joke and they'll miss just one word and it's not funny anymore. And they'll be like, "Why didn't I get my usual laugh?" And it's like, because you forgot this one word, and that would have changed the punchline. So it's the same thing with the show. He'll be like, "Why did that trick suck tonight?" And I'll be like, "Because you didn't tell the audience why it was going to happen. You just did it. So there's a lot of input from me because I'm constantly hearing the audience and hearing him. And the thing about magic is it's kind of misogynistic. Is even if you're an equal team member and you are the magic and illusion team of Don and Anthony, they always refer to the man. Nobody thinks that I'm 50% of the show, or that I created that illusion, or that I have any say-so. And so they always want to talk to Anthony after the show, and I'll say, "Well, how can I help you?" And then they'll be like, "No, I need to talk to Anthony." And I'm like, "Suit yourself. Go ahead. Talk to him. I don't care. I get half the paycheck, so I don't care." But a lot of women do care.
Do you... So aside from writing this book, now that you're able to travel again, does this take up all your time, your magic and illusion team show?
It does. We are not back at 100% of our business. We're probably 60% of our business right now. But the business that we have now, when you're talking about the show evolving, one thing that we decided during COVID is we didn't want to do kiddie birthday party shows anymore. And we're doing more illusion shows, which bring in a higher value. And we're booking more theaters and more stages as opposed to someone's backyard. So that brings in a higher dollar amount. So we are almost making the same money doing less shows but higher quality shows. And so if we were to get some of the venues back that we don't have back yet, that we're waiting to get back, then we would be okay. But there's also the insecurity now of could that shutdown happen again. So during COVID, we took on jobs at Amazon, and we are still at Amazon in case the world comes crashing down again.
What do you do with Amazon?
Oh, what don't we do? We do everything. We're learning ambassadors. So now when the new hires come in, we train them where they're going to go. If they're going to be a scanner or a stager or a water spider or a problem solver or work in transportation, we train them. But when there's no one to train, my favorite job and the job that they pretty much put me at every single day is problem solver. So it's really fun because I get all the packages that the label's not on it, you don't know where it's supposed to go, or the shampoo spilled all over the box and made a mess and it spilled on 10 other boxes. So I get to go into the boxes, see if the product is damaged, repackage it, and send it on its way, or I damage it out and send it back to the fulfillment center. But there's some surprises in those boxes, I'll tell you that much. Sometimes I open a box and I have never seen this before.
Our guest has been Dawn Morgan. What a fascinating life and working career you've had in sports and magic and other things. Really incredible. Do you have any final thoughts for our audience, Dawn Morgan?
No, just go out there and enjoy your life and live every day. And if you want to get my book, it's 52 card pickup, Dawn Morgan. You can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Target, Walmart. You can also get it on our website, AnthonyTheMagic.com. If you want to see our videos, we're all over YouTube. And enjoy the World Series.
Thanks again, Dawn Morgan. Wonderful, inspiring interview. Next week we have James Donaldson back for the fourth time, a former NBA player, and we'll talk about NBA history and mental health. Again, dear listener, may the road rise to meet you. May the wind be at your back. May the sun shine warm upon your face and rains fall soft upon your fields. And until we meet again, may God hold you in the palm of his hand. Good night, everybody. Thanks again, Dawn Morgan.
Thank you. That was awesome sign-off. I love